for you. So just get ready right now. Just get ready to share. If this is your first time meeting me, I am very excited to connect with you. I'm a Harvard Business School MBA. I'm a success strategist dealing with life, leadership, and women's empowerment. I am on purpose with taking people from ordinary to extraordinary. So this show is about people who are unapologetically powerful. And Rene, I'm so excited to have you here. I want to tell everybody to connect with me, connect with her. This is all about us supporting and serving each other. You never know what you will learn just by listening. I really try to make this show hard hitting. I really try to make this show something that's a role model for other people. I really make this show something that you connect with and you can use right away. I'm so glad that you guys leave comments and questions that Rene and I both can go back and look at and answer for you, because it will make a difference for you in your journey to better. We're all on this journey to better, and I'm so excited for us to connect. You guys, I tell you all the time that when you get to a place called bigger, brighter, that you will connect with people and you have an immediate connection. It does not take long. So Rene and I were on the phone doing a pre-show call like this. And it's so amazing. So I get so juiced up by people. Remember, we're having two kind of people on the show. Either they're already super bad all day long, still always on our journey to better, but super bad all day long, or they want to be super bad all day long, and they are serious about becoming on that journey. I don't want to take not 1 minute longer to bring in Rene Bangelsdorf. That's it, right?
Bangelsdorf. Yep.
Bangelsdorf. Okay, we've been practicing on her name. You guys know I'm dyslexic, so it's always a joy to say someone's name. But Rene is a powerhouse. Listen to this. In an industry that is dominated by men. Now, let me say this, because I know you guys probably saw the advertisement. That's why you're cluing in. But Rene, you have to, it's more than dominate. When there's only 1% that are women, it's like a male environment that you jammed yourself into at such a high level. And I'm so excited. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, Rene, is just to introduce yourself and tell them where they can find you. I want to tell you guys early in the broadcast that you can find me and connect with me on GloriaMayfieldBanks.com. And I'm active on Facebook and on Instagram at Gloria Banks. But I also want them to hear, Rene, how they connect and stay connected with you, because you have so much going on. So introduce yourself and tell them a little about you.
Well, Gloria, I am inspired already, and I feel like I should be interviewing you, because you have given me so much energy just from your smile and your enthusiasm, and I can't wait to connect further with you and with all of our listeners today. And people can find me on Facebook or Instagram primarily. I'm also on LinkedIn and Twitter. All of my handles are at Rene Bangelsdorf. It's easy to do that when you have such an unusual last name, to just use your first and last name. My website is also renebangelsdorf.com. And if you want to buy a jet, because that's what I do, you can connect with me at charliebravoaviation.com. So buy jets. I mean, that's my thing, Gloria. I know I'm going to talk you into buying one by the end of the show today, because you should be flying in all your fabulousness all over the world.
I should. I got to get it off my bucket list onto my reality. Off my bucket list onto my reality. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, shoot, I think you have some questions for me, and I can't wait to hear where you're going to go with this.
Okay, so first, I want to tell you guys, seriously, if you haven't passed this, remember what I said. If you care, share. Now, let's just talk about this for a second. She's talking about she sells jets. And I want you to know that that right there is a mind blower, because sometimes we focus on our next car. And she's talking about purchasing a jet. So I want to know, Renee, tell them a little bit about your journey. I think that we all get inspired by the transparencies of one's journey, not just where you are today, but some of your journey on how you got to where you are today. Because when they connect with you on your social media and follow you, this backstory will mean a lot to them. Tell them a little bit about your journey.
You know, that's the crazy thing, Gloria, because we never come up with a plan and then live that out over our life. And if we do, we're not taking enough risks and we're not taking opportunities as they're presented to us. And that's exactly what happened to me. So I went to journalism school. I thought that would be exciting to listen to other people's stories and tell other people's stories, right? Because I think other people are really interesting. But my husband is a salesman through and through. And he decided at one point in our marriage, about 18 years ago, that he wanted to sell jets. And I had been doing some marketing, and he dragged me into the company that he was working for to do some marketing. And we ended up starting our own company. And then because it would be advantageous for us with a large defense contractor to be a woman-owned company, I became the CEO. And that has been a journey in and of itself, because when you start out as, oh, that's the wife who does marketing, and you end up as one of the most widely respected brokerage firms in the industry, it is not by accident. It is by being super bad all day long, every day, unapologetic in everything that you do.
Right. You know, I loved it when you were saying that you had to break out of that comfort place. You know, you had to be super bad in terms of the way that you sold, in terms of the way that you presented yourself. We were talking on the pre-call. You said this was not for the lighthearted. It was not for the lighthearted. I want to spend a minute on this because I think that so many of us dim our light so that other people will not feel comfortable. I mean, even your husband, I say this all the time. It takes a really strong man to lift a powerful woman, to bring you along, to see all the gifts that you could bring into the business, and then lift you up as the CEO, both because you deserved it and because it was a smart business decision. All of that came together. So talk a little bit to them about being unafraid, about being true pushers of the dream.
Well, there's nothing about being unafraid. We're all afraid. I mean, you're going to be afraid. And if you're not afraid, you're not taking risks.
Right.
So yes, you're afraid. But at the same time, you have to be brave. You have to do things that feel uncomfortable. The very first time that I sold a plane, we were sitting at this luncheon in this tent, and it's a tent because it's out on the tarmac and there are private jets all over the place, and like they've got this tent up and like 5-star chefs in there making food. And this man, this 80-year-old self-made billionaire, decided that he wanted me to represent the sale of his jet because women have more of a conscience than men, and he felt like I would represent him better. And I was so scared, but I was like, I had my mouth full. I was one of those little caprese salad toothpicks, and I had everything in my mouth, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Right.
Big gulp swallow. And I'm like, I'll do it. And, you know, it was a $30 million plane. And he called me at one point. The rest of my staff was overseas. So I was all on my own. He called me at 8 o'clock at night. And he goes, you know what? I know we're selling this plane to a Fortune 50 company, but they piss me off. So why don't you just have them show up with a suitcase with $30 million in it, and I'll give them the keys to my plane. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? How do I talk to this billionaire?
Right.
How do I talk him off the ledge?
Right.
And it was the first time I had to really overcome objections, rein somebody who I felt like was a lot more powerful than me in, and push that deal across the finish line. And I was scared the whole time. But I also used my brain. I used my voice. I used reason, and I closed the deal. And that's what you have to do every time. You have to push past your self-doubt
Yes.
and take a chance and do it.
Yes.
And that's true not just in sales, but it's true in life as well. And you know that.
Right. Right. And I love the fact that the gentle words that you use for emotional management. I can only imagine what it felt like when he called at 8 p.m., getting ready to lose everything that you worked hard on, and you stayed steady. You stayed the course. And he called you because you stayed the course. The other thing that you said was the characteristics that women have are different than the characteristics that men have. It's not about, especially for you, it's not about how to be a woman acting like a man. It's how to use the woman in you to be the best you are, to bring the gifts God gave to you to the marketplace. And I love that piece.
That's the biggest secret, Julia, is being authentic.
Yes.
So I spent the first part of this career trying to be one of the guys, fit in with one of the guys, tell jokes like one of the guys, all that stuff. It was so powerful when I figured out that if I'm a woman, because I am a woman and I own that and I act like one, I'm emotional, but I'm authentic to myself. That's been the key to my recent success.
I mean, when you guys think about a $30 million sale, and then you hear her say the same things that we talk about often, overcoming objections. And we talk about staying in the process, staying in the process, staying in the process. She said something that we talk about all the time: do it afraid. Stop fooling yourself thinking that you're going to be able to do things that are without fear. I loved what you said. There's nothing about being unafraid. We're all afraid. Do it afraid if you're going to make a quantum leap. You guys, I need you to write this down. I need you to pass this along. I need you to make a big sign, and it's going to say April 9th. April 9th, her book is going to drop. And that is significant when you are thinking about you want to become a woman who is authentic and successful. Tell them about your book, Rene. That's very exciting.
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. This has been such a journey for me. The book that I have coming out in just a couple of days is called Stand Up: How to Flourish When the Odds Are Stacked Against You. And it's really my story about how I went from being very introverted and very timid with very sensitive. I was super sensitive and really so sensitive and so introverted. I was a wallflower at a party and I was hoping I was blending into the wallpaper. I mean, I was just timid. And it's the story of how I made it through dropping out of college because I was pregnant to start a family and figuring out what I wanted to do with my life and really thriving in this industry where I'm one of 2 women who owns a company in the world that buys and sells jets. I'm in the top 5% of aircraft brokers in the world. And it's my story of how I got there. And to be honest with you, Gloria, it's got a little bit of my faith story in there too, because that's been very instrumental for me. But it's a story of failing publicly and big and dragging myself up again. It's a story about figuring out how not to fall into the temptation of doing things unethically in a business that's not ethical and is not regulated. And it's been making, blazing my own path. So Stand Up: How to Flourish When the Odds Are Stacked Against You comes out on April 9th. You can pre-order it on Amazon right now. Awesome. And you can also, actually, if you're dying to get a copy before then, I have a few advanced reader copies that you can get if you go on my website, ReneBengelsdorf.com.
Awesome. That is so exciting. I thought that your conversation and what would be so intriguing is how you handled out loud failure. I mean, and the definition of out loud to me, sometimes people think if 3 people know about it, it's out loud. And then some people think if Thousands of people know about it. It's out loud. But I can promise you that no one gets to the category of super bad all day long unless they dealt with some type of failure and had to pick themselves back up. And so I love that. I love the fact that you talked about the transparency, that your transparency when you talked about going from a wallflower to someone who is one of two in the world, as well as very successful. You can be one of two, but to get to that top 5% is, we are all Glow Nation, hashtag Glow Nation. We are all celebrating you right now, And you guys do know, right now in our world, you know how things change quickly in our world. Well, podcasting is all the rage. And Rene has a podcast. So Rene, tell them about your podcast, because I'm sure after listening to this and sharing this with their friends that they're going to want to tune in. Tell them about that.
Well, the podcast really came about because I feel like it's important that companies figure out how to attract, retain, and promote women. So I started it out trying to come up with advice about that. And I interviewed people like the female VP of Airworthiness and Safety at FedEx.
Wow.
And women who work for aircraft manufacturers. And I interviewed someone who runs public affairs for the San Antonio Spurs. These are all women in male-dominated industries. And it kind of morphed into, how do we defy the status quo on a daily basis? And the podcast is called Defying the Status Quo. And on it, I interview usually women, or sometimes men who are doing a great job promoting women, but usually women who really are defying the status quo, who are doing a great job in a male-dominated industry, doing things for other women. And the guest that I had on for today's release podcast is a woman named Katie Waite. And Katie is on the film festival around the world right now, on the film festival circuit, promoting her documentary called Fly Like a Girl, where she really talks about women in aviation. And I love it. She's a director of the movie, and she just found all these great women to interview and highlight in her documentary. It's so exciting.
You know, that is unbelievably exciting, because all day long I teach about how to talk to ambitious women, how to bring those kind of women who want more into your circle, how to become a woman who attracts people like that. And if they go to your podcast, they will hear women after women after women who are not anxious or passionate about staying in the comfort zone. They're passionate about going far beyond the comfort zone and bringing something back for themselves, to the industry, to other women. You guys, we talked earlier about how you gather people, and you said a phrase that I loved. What did you say about the phrase about you're never alone at the top? What is that you talk about?
You know, it's one of my favorite things to say, because a lot of people complain about, well, it's lonely at the top. You know, if you climb the top of the ladder, it's lonely up there. Well, BS on that. It's only lonely at the top if you haven't pulled your tribe along with you. If you're helping other people climb at the same time, it is not lonely at the top. It is exciting at the top.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm so very pleased with that, because as we talked about gathering as you climb, gathering other people, it makes such a difference, because it will give you the type of joy that will keep you going. People ask us, I'm sure they ask you the same thing. How do you stay so passionate? How do you stay so passionate? And I always tell them, when you're making a difference, and you know you're making a difference beyond yourself, you are passionate about staying in the game and driving hard, because other people are depending on you, and you're making a difference for so many other people. Rene, this has been phenomenal. And I truly hope, I always say this all the time, if you share, if you care, share. If you care, share. And so, Rene, do you have any final points that you might want to share with them about something that's on your heart?
Well, I'm just going to say one more thing,
Yes.
Gloria, and that's that I named my book Stand Up, because I think it's so important that we make a move, that we it's not a passive stand, it's an action. Stand up, which means taking a position of leadership and readiness. It's not enough we're just in a position of leadership. We have to be in a position where we're ready to take action and to help others.
Right.
Because that's what it's all about. That's why you and I do what we do. Gloria, is helping others, because when we help others, we end up helping ourselves and achieving our own goals as well. So here's what I want you to do for your goals.
Okay.
Gloria, I want you to look on my website, pick out a jet, print a picture of it, and put it on your vision board, because I'm going to sell you one.
I love that. I love that, because it is on my bucket list. So now I'm moving from my bucket list to my vision board to my reality. I absolutely love it. You guys, for sure, this has been a Super Bad All Day Long broadcast Wednesdays at noon that I absolutely have loved. You guys, make this day matter seriously, because a good day causes good weeks, and good weeks cause good months, and great months cause phenomenal years. And as we shut this down, we are powerful about making 2020 explode past 2019. And you can only do that if you take each day very seriously. Rene, thank you so much. We will look for you. We will support you. We cannot wait to watch your success take even a larger quantum leap than it is right now. And I appreciate the fact that you chose to be on Super Bad All Day Long. We'll talk with you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.